Alright, today we're having a look at The Golden Monkey by Il Lebonsens. Alright, so here we are on The Golden Monkey by Il Lebonsens, and I hope we're getting that name right. I'm always not sure, I'm never sure, quite the pronunciation of a YL beginning of a name, so I apologize, Lebonsens-san, if I made a mistake there. The intro screen tells us, and the intro story tells us that we've got to find... I wasn't paying enough attention, to be honest. I was trying to decide whether or not we were going to record that or not, but we'll probably show it. Water rune. We can throw water by acting R1. Open the menu by pressing the touchpad. There are a fair amount of controls in the level. I checked those out as well before we actually started recording. Very nicely professionally done. But what I was going to say before is we've got a platformer. We're trying to get the MacGuffin, go through the floating islands and reach our temple. Now, let's see, we came from there. I do like the look. It's got a very, very clean look to it, which is neat. R1. Now, we're supposed to have a double jump, according to... Do I need to water this? I guess I do. We're supposed to have a double jump according to the controls page, but I didn't notice one. Nice bouncy platform there. This is pretty nifty. It was picked by the community. I didn't know that because I was checking through dreams.me or indreams.me. So you may have already played this already. It's only got about 1,200 plays on it so far. But it's something, it looks like a much cleaner version of an early PlayStation 3D type of platformer, and that's kind of neat. With this active, you can make double jump by pressing X, then X in the air. Okay. Keep in mind, air rune cancels all fall damage. Ooh. Oh, I see. So we got the control pad in the corner there, and letting us know what rune is active at what time. That is pretty cool, to be perfectly honest. I like that we've got to do a bit of a cost-benefit, I suppose, as to whether or not we want to actually have the water rune or the air rune equipped at any given time. I think we're going to switch to the water rune because we might need to fight these things. Oh, they're training dummies. Press triangle, square to attack the enemies. And we can lock on with the L1 button. And we could see how we move out of lock if we let go of L1. This is really cool. It feels very expansive for a work in progress, which the title screen tells us, and they also tell us in the game itself. And encourage any feedback that they can get, so hopefully that this feedback that we've got here will be helpful to them. Can we water these, I wonder? They don't... Oh, wait, what's going on over there? I don't hear any more noise, so there was like a doon 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 sound going on for a minute there. But we made it to the Golden Temple. And nice that they've got the objective in the screen there. Find a way to enter. We need no ways to enter. We'll just bust our way in. Earth rune. Feel really strong with this active. Okay. Maybe that means we could do more damage with our attack. Boo, boo. Boo. Looks like we might need to place some objects on those pads, so we gotta, I guess, search for something? Maybe... Oh, nice way they light up there as well, so we could see what exactly we are supposed to, or what exactly we have equipped there. That's kind of cool. A heart container. Right, so I'm feeling a bit Zelda-y. A very Metroidvania-esque so far. Can I get back here? Interact. Oh, we gotta switch. I am not strong enough. I will be. Check this out. Strength. The strength of the monkey. Can I fight that dude? I don't know. We only had 36 seconds. Oh, he's vomiting. We made the monkey sick? I'm sorry about that, monkey. I didn't mean to make you sick, monkey guardian. We don't really have a lot of time, which is a shame, because I feel like we're just getting into the level proper, the level qua level. 17 seconds left. So little time, so little time. But let's at least get this open and then I guess we'll pop back to the hub. But I'm liking this a lot so far. This is really, really well done. We're going to talk about back to the hub, and we'll see you there. See yas! And we're back, and the Golden Monkey by Il Levinsons. And I'd say it's actually a really, really solid yellow square. It's lacking in a few things that we're going to talk about that I think elevate it up into a green circle, but as the title page does let us know that this is a work in progress, we can expect that the final creation will be a bit different from what we've looked at here, and hopefully it'll be buffed up, improved, and expanded upon. Although improvement, I think expansion is maybe more important than improvement at this point. As I mentioned in the video, and it did remind me an awful lot of early PlayStation and kind of N64 style 3D platformers, and I do like that genre an awful lot. I think there's an awful lot of good things to say about that when it's pulled off fairly well, and I think for an intro stage, or an intro series of stages, because really 2 stages here, I think that it does pull it off fairly well. I really liked the look of the Floating Islands Valley. From way back when, in the before, when I was doing roughly 50 Minutes Fresh, and that was one of the things that I mentioned a number of times. I really like the Floating Islands aesthetic, and I think that this level, the environment pulls that off fairly well. I've got a nice couple of sets of floating islands here, and I think if you look really closely, you can see how kind of copying objects and resizing them and slightly changing them to maybe save thermo space, but still give a slightly different look to each individual object works really quite well here, and there's a lot of kind of building block in the environment that we see, and I thought that was really cool. Now, like with a lot of these 3D platformers, a lot of what you see in the environment isn't actually accessible. A lot of those floating islands you can't actually get to, but it's nice that you'll put the effort into putting them there to give the world a little bit more of an expansive look. And speaking of look, the look of the character as well is very solid on, very good design. When I first played it, it seemed a little bit dark, but it might have been just because I had just turned on my TV and the brightness, it takes a little while to catch up there. But it's a really cool looking character. Animations are very solidly done. There's a neat little animation that if you fall from a large enough height, and one that's not going to damage you, but a taller fall, a greater fall, excuse me, than a double jump fall. And he actually does kind of a 3-point stance. Caesar does when he lands on the ground, and I thought that was really neat. I liked, as I mentioned in the video, the way that the information is presented to the player in a very clear and accessible format, particularly with the types of runes that we have and which ones are currently equipped, by showing that icon in the lower left corner. We go from the air rune, which gives us the double jump, the water rune that lets us interact with certain puzzles, the strength rune as well, the earth rune that lets us interact with one puzzle in the game, and the fire rune, which lets us interact with one puzzle in the game. That is one thing that I would like to see expanded on a little bit if we get a 3rd stage or a 4th stage to go on here, is a little bit more utility and usage of the fire, water, and earth runes, that they only really come into play in one particular section each, and then, well, I mean, the water rune's got a little bit more than that, but you're only doing one thing with it, which is watering the mushrooms. But the earth and fire, they're limited to their own particular sections, and you never see them come up again. So that would be nice to see a little bit more out of. Something I would like to see a little bit more out of as well is combat. We've got the training dummies. I thought those training dummies looked really cool. I liked the fact that the stuffing was coming out of them as they were taking damage. That was a neat effect. And a couple of skeletons, one that we saw in the video, and no, wait, we didn't see that in the video. I saw that in my first playthrough, but you didn't see it. And that's all that we've got for combat, and I would love to have seen combat expanded on a little bit more, and some more enemies and some more enemy types that we could have fought, and maybe interacting with them in different ways. I thought, for example, my second time through, that if I used the earth rune when I was fighting the enemies, that it would do more damage because I have greater strength, but didn't seem to be the case. Now, we get through the Floating Islands Valley section, and then we go into the Temple of Wisdom, which is where the golden monkey is locked away. The golden monkey, by the way, the story tells us at the very beginning that excuse me, that the golden monkey will protect the bearer from want, and Caesar is going to get this golden monkey for his village, which is really cool. It's a nice little adventure hook going on there. We get to the golden monkey temple. We solve not really a puzzle, but we get an item to open up further progress, and then we go into the basement floor of that temple. And this was really kind of weird because so you get the fire rune, you're gonna fight a skeleton. Directly ahead of you is a room with some torches. So I ran to those torches and I lit them on fire, because that's obviously what you do when you've got one torch that's lit and 3 torches that aren't. I did notice as I was running to that room that to my right there was another section with some buzzsaws. Now I lit those torches and the level immediately ended. It said to be continued, and I found that a little bit strange from a level design, that you've got kind of 2 open areas, but one is going to end the level, or one is going to set some progress point that maybe we can't get beyond. Now perhaps going back to this, that a puzzle will be added in the right side room. It's a little bit of a jumping area. You've got to get past some buzzsaws and then you got to fight a skeleton, but there's nothing in there except for a heart container. But maybe there'll be another puzzle there, so that puzzle plus the torch puzzle, and that will open up the true progress point. Otherwise, maybe putting a gate in front of the torch area to kind of force the player to go into the jumping buzzsaw area to do that section, so that the player's not missing out on things in the temple, and then have them come back and do the torch area. That might have been a slightly better way to put it than have both of those open at the same time. Those are minor complaints, not really complaints, but things that I'd like to see in the future for this level. One really small thing, and it has come up a number of times, enough times that I feel it's going to be kind of standard until we find a workaway, community finds a workaway for this issue, is the spinny camera. The camera is really touchy with the hello. Well, you see me doing it right now with the right direction stick, and it just, I would like to see cameras that were just maybe a little bit more locked in how far they could rotate, instead of doing this whole 360. I don't want to do an upskirt, that would be really disgusting, but doing an almost 360 rotation and at this speed, because sometimes you'll be playing around with it and it just spins a little bit too quickly. Although this did allow us to do one kind of funny thing. In the Temple of Wisdom, in the basement section, after you fight the skeleton in the buzzsaw room, you can actually do a little bit of boundary breaking if you get your character right up close to the wall and spin the camera really quickly before the camera can actually lock back in on the character. If you don't do it at the right time, then you'll just kind of get locked into the walls. You won't be able to see outside. But if you do it just right, you can see outside of the temple, and that's always kind of fun. That's always kind of interesting and goofy. But your mileage may vary on that one. Something that I found actually by accident when I was trying to switch over to the fire rune and accidentally hit the menu button. I hadn't checked that in the video. There's actually a really, really nice explanation of the items that you've got there, and there's going to be a map that's implemented in the future and telling you like an information screen as to how much you've completed and what things that you've found already. And it was really nicely done, and that, along with the control section, lets you know what the controls do. That had a very professional look to it, and it looked like not something somebody had just put together, but maybe an indie team had put together. I have a feeling that that's something I'm going to be saying a lot for some of the more well-polished levels in Dreams, but that did stand out to me. It's a small detail, but it was really well done. It was really well presented, and this level is honestly really well done and really well presented, and the only reason it's a yellow square instead of a green circle is that I just want more. I think that more can be implemented here, and I very much look forward to what Il Lebonsens, I'm so sorry if I'm screwing up that name, Il Lebonsens is going to be doing with this level in the future. But I think that handles it for us this go about. Give this level a play, it's a really solid one. And from me, Risco, here in Osaka, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.